What's up? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit that like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the politics and BS.
Hi, I'm Phil Lipoff. We want to take you to Kalamazoo, Michigan. You see it there. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is about to speak and introduce Vice President Kamala Harris at a rally there. You see her working the crowd. Her husband, former President Barack Obama, was with the Vice President on the trail just 2 days ago. Let's listen in to what Michelle Obama has to say.
So we want to get this show on the road, especially for our folks standing here in the mosh pit. Hang on there. I love you. Well, let me just start by saying hello, Kalamazoo. Or should I say Kamalazoo? Who is ready to elect the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris? Let me start, of course, by thanking Hallie for everything she's done to get out the vote here in Michigan. But most of all, I want to thank all of you because, 100 years old, no. Oh, my goodness. You look amazing. I bow down. Doesn't it feel good to be together? I mean, it feels so good. I haven't done this in such a long time. It feels good to see how strong, how hopeful, how energized, how organized we all are. And we need that. We need all of you. Because right now, as you know, this race is close. It's too close for my liking. And I came out here to Michigan because I am someone who takes her own advice to heart. I know that if we want to help this country finally turn the page on the politics of hatred and division, we can't just sit around and complain. No, we've got to do something. If we want to usher in the next generation of American leadership, we have got to do something. If we want to elect someone with a character that is worthy of the Oval Office, someone with the strength of heart to guide our country to a better day, we have got to what? And that someone, of course, is my dear friend Kamala Harris. And Michigan, I am so hopeful about the energy and poise and joy that Kamala has injected into this race. And if you know Kamala like I do, that's no surprise. I mean, think about it. No one could have predicted the way everything would have unfolded this summer. And yet, in a critical moment when our country needed her, Kamala couldn't have been more prepared to meet that moment. And she's met it every single day since. Yes. Oh, she's filling arenas in a way we haven't seen for years. She's building a remarkable campaign in record time, dominating her opponent so thoroughly in the debate, he was too scared to face her again. Tragic exclamation point on his disastrous presidency. Installing judges and justices who have now stripped away our reproductive freedoms. Cracking down on protesters marching to protect their sons from being shot because of the color of their skin. Rolling back protections for LGBTQ Americans. Fanning conspiracy theories, unleashing hatred in our communities. And then, when the American people fired him from a job that was too big for him to begin with, he tried to steal it, egging on a violent mob that breached our nation's capital. And when told that his own vice president was in danger, you know what he said? So what? So what, y'all? He said, so what? And after all of that, and there is more. There are still folks wringing their hands, crossing their arms, tuning out, saying they plan to sit this election out to prove a point? Well, let me tell you who isn't tuning out. Many of the folks who served closest to Trump and saw the danger firsthand. His former vice president, almost half of his former cabinet members, the growing list of four-star generals and Republican governors and senators and former House members, all of whom are not publicly supporting his candidacy the second time around. Y'all hear what I said? They are saying, no, worried that we will blow this opportunity to finally turn the page on the ugliness once and for all. Because believe me, if Donald Trump is president again, at some point or another, that ugliness will touch all of our lives. And it will not matter what you look like, how you worship, who you love, or how you vote. If you don't make 6 or 8 or 12 figures, if you're not famous, if you criticize or disagree with him in any way, if he doesn't view you as his equal or relevant to his ambitions, I promise you, he will not think about you when he gets into the Oval Office. Kamala Harris. And while we're at it, I want to think about who do you think possibly would care more about our reproductive health? And I just want to take a moment with this particular question, because there is so much that gets lost in the conversation about women's reproductive rights. And I want the men in the arena to bear with me on this, because there's more at stake than just protecting a woman's choice to give birth. And sadly, we as women and girls have not been socialized to talk openly about our reproductive health. We've been taught instead to feel shame and to hide how our bodies work. Some young girls in her puberty not knowing what to protect us. Yo, we are teetering on the edge. Even before these state bans, America was already lagging behind every other wealthy nation on measures like maternal mortality and paid leave. So we could be right back to the days before Roe, which many young people here don't even remember. The days when abortion wasn't as safe as it is today. The days when the number of mothers of color dying in childbirth was 30 to 40% higher than when it was under Roe. So to the men who love us, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like if America, the wealthiest nation on earth, keeps revoking basic care from its women, and how it will affect every single woman in your life. Your girlfriend could be the one in legal jeopardy if she needs a pill from out of state or overseas, or if she has to travel across state lines because the local clinic closed up. Your wife or mother could be the ones at higher risk of dying from undiagnosed cervical cancer because they have no access to regular gynecological care. Your daughter could be the one too terrified to call the doctor if she's bleeding during an unexpected pregnancy. Your niece could be the one miscarrying in her bathtub after the hospital turned her away. And this will not just affect women, it will affect you and your sons. The devastating consequences of teen pregnancy won't just be borne by young girls, but also by the young men who are the fathers. They too will have their dreams of going to college, their entire future is totally upended by an unwanted pregnancy. If you and your partner are expecting a child, you will be right by her side at the checkups, terrified if her blood pressure is too high, or if there's an issue with the placenta, or if the ultrasound shows that the embryo was implanted in the wrong place, and the doctors aren't sure that they can intervene to keep the woman you love safe. If your wife is shivering and bleeding on the operating room table during a routine delivery gone bad, her pressure dropping as she loses more and more blood, or some unforeseen infection spreads and her doctors aren't sure if they can act, you will be the one praying that it's not too late. You will be the one pleading for somebody, anybody, to do something. To make these choices clear to the men that we love, our lives are worth more than their anger and disappointment. And we are more than just baby-making vessels. And if you are a woman who lives in a household of men that don't listen to you or value your opinion, just remember that your vote is a private matter. Regardless of the political views of your partner, you get to choose. You get to use your judgment and cast your vote for yourself and the women in your life. Remember, women, standing up for what is best for us can make the difference in this election. So let us use our voices in these final days to make it plain to the men in our lives that we need to stand not with Trump, but with us.
Let me tell you something. Michelle Obama, she has absolutely zero duty or anything in her job description that says that she has to be out here and putting herself on, I would say, the front lines to let people know how much of a threat Donald Trump is. And she said everything and then some, and probably not some things that I feel, but, you know, I would say not saying it in a way that I would say it, because I wouldn't say it very eloquently like she did. But she said everything that I was thinking in a very eloquent way. And nothing that she said was a lie. Nothing that she said had anything in it that wasn't factual. And she did not come for him in a way that was threatening. But if anyone says the truth about Donald Trump that has an audience, he sees it as a threat. And in return, he wants to retaliate. And he does this stuff. He has been doing this for years on end, putting out the insinuations and then people acting. Now, she has Secret Service, so thankfully she is on, you know, she is on point and she is protected. And that's great for her. But there are so many unhinged people out here, and he puts out so many horrible vibes, undertones. He may not come right out and say, go out and attack Michelle or get the revenge for me because she hurt my feelings. But in not so many words, that's exactly what he's doing.
With your support on November 5th, you know what's nasty to me? Michelle Obama. I always tried to be so nice and respectful. Oh, she opened up a little bit of a box. She opened up a little bit of something. Oh, she was nasty. Ooh. Shouldn't be that way. That was a big mistake that she made. With your support on November 5th, we will achieve success that no one can imagine. We will have the strongest economy, the most secure borders, the safest cities, the most powerful military, the best trade deals. We will dominate the frontiers of science, medicine, business, technology, and space.
So you heard what he said, and you let me know if that does not sound like a veiled threat to you, because for him to say, I try to be so nice, first of all, he isn't nice to anyone that doesn't kiss his orange ass cheeks. But even that isn't being nice. It's just him being happy that they're kissing it and brown nosing for his sake. But he could care less about anyone but himself. So for the crazy loons that would listen to his words and say, aye, Captain, and go out and attempt to try to do something, it's not going to work. But the so-called attempts on his life, which I absolutely do not believe, trust and believe, if those people wanted to do something, it would have happened. It would have happened. But even with that being said, for the so-called few attempts that he has had on his life, do you know that there have been so many attempts against the Obamas when he was in office? And people have tried stuff even when they were out of office. Because when he was in office, Donald Trump stoked so much more racism. And that's how he wound up being the president of the United States. After people felt like the country had come so far by electing its first black president, or we'll say biracial. To me, it doesn't matter. Because yeah, his mom is Caucasian and his dad is Kenyan. I don't care. But he got black in him. So that definitely was the first biracial president, for sure. For sure. So a lot of people felt like the country had come so far because this has happened. And then they rolled it so far back by allowing a white racist reality show star to become the president after they had elected its first black or biracial man to the office of the president. So that's why I'm just really hopeful, and I put in my work to make sure that he does not ever sit his orange ass in the Oval Office ever again.
You know wagwan, when you turn me around, wagwan, when the neighbors yell turn down, we keep it going, like pom pom pom, throw it back then rotation, flick our wrist and just season, shine bright as that season, girl you know you are a jam 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 jam, jam 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 jam, jam 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 jam, sounding like you're wasting every time.
Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.